Dear students and mathematics lovers, please welcome to the YouTube channel Mathematics Students Helper. Our present video is about series in real number. This is actually part 3. Here I discuss the necessary condition for convergence and series of positive real numbers with some examples and theorems. However, I request you to see the previous videos, that is part 1 and part 2. Link of that videos are given in description box. I hope that you will understand whole the video. Please watch whole the video by not skipping. If you can understand my video after watching, then please like it and share it with your friends. If the channel is still not subscribed, please subscribe it and say your friends to subscribe my channel to get more updates. At first I give application of Cauchy's principle. This is actually necessary condition for convergence. The theorem is that prove that a necessary condition for the convergence of a series xn is limit xn tends to 0, limit xn equal to 0. That is when a series in series in real number xn is convergent series, then limit of xn equal to 0. That is last terms of the series are very small, that is near to 0. If you imagine the example of Bisleri water which was given in part 1, then you see that in first bottle the water was half liter, then 1 by 4 liter, then 1 by 8 liter, then 1 by 16 liter, and so on. So if you take the last bottle in last position, suppose if you take 1000 number bottle, then water in that bottle will be 1 by 2 to the power 1000 plus 1, that is this is very small. If you take 1 lakh number bottle, then the water in that bottle must be 1 by 2 to the power 1 lakh 1. Okay, so when you get to the right side, that is when you increase the number of the bottle, that is when you take limit as n tends to infinite, then quantity must be tends to 0. Okay, however in present theorem, this was the necessary condition for the convergence of series xn is limit xn equal to 0. That is when a series xn is convergent, then limit xn must be equal to 0. What happens when limit xn equal to 0? Then will the series convergent xn? I discuss it after proving that theorem. However, at first I proved that theorem. Suppose here the series xn, which is a convergent series. Okay, now you have to show that limit xn equal to 0. Limit xn equal to 0 means we have to show that mod of xn minus 0 less than epsilon for all n greater or equal to m, where epsilon is an arbitrary real number. That is, we use the definition of limit of a sequence. Okay, so at first you have to assume a positive real number, suppose epsilon be arbitrary positive real number. So our target is to prove mod of xn minus 0 is less than epsilon for n greater than or equal to m, where m is a fixed natural number depending on epsilon. However, since the series here xn, which is a convergent series, so by Cauchy's principle we can write then by Cauchy's principle of convergence of series, there exists a natural number m such that mod of xn plus 1, xn plus 2 plus dot xn plus p must be less than epsilon for all n greater than or equal to m. Here p is any natural number, that is p is 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay. You said that mod contains n terms starting from n plus 1 and ending with n plus p. If you take p equal to p equal to 1, then a relation implies that suppose if you take p equal to 1, then it starts from n plus 1 and ends with x n plus 1. That is, it contains only one terms because here p equal to 1 and this term is x n plus 1. So this will be mod of x n plus 1 must be less than epsilon for all n greater than or equal to m. So for every epsilon greater 0, there exists natural number m such that mod of xn plus 1 is less than epsilon for all n greater than or equal to m. So from the definition of limit, you can conclude that limit of the sequence xn plus 1 is 0. That is limit xn plus 1 equal to 0. Limit x plus 1 equal to 0 means limit xn equal to 0. So here we see that when a series xn is convergent, then limit of xn must be equal to 0. Okay, but the converse is not always true. Converse of the above theorem is not always true. That is, when in a series the limit xn is 0, then you cannot conclude about the convergence of xn, that is it may be convergent or not convergent, that is divergent. For example, here we consider an example summation 1 by n, that is 1 plus half plus 1/3. That series was discussed in previous video in two methods. In first method we saw that limit of subsequent limit of corresponding partial sequence, that is sequence Sn, was divergent, and in the second method we use Cauchy's principle to show that the summation 1 by n is a divergent series. Okay. However, here the given series can be written as summation xn, where xn equal to 1 by n for all n belongs to natural number. We know that series summation xn, that is summation 1 by n, is not a convergent series, which was already proved in previous video. But if you calculate limit xn here, so limit xn equal to limit 1 by n, that is limit 1 by n means 0. So here we see that limit xn equal to 0, but the series xn is, that is 1 by n, is not convergent. Okay. So limit xn equal to 0 is a necessary condition for convergence, but it is not sufficient condition. Okay. But when limit xn is non-zero, then you can conclude that it is not convergent. When limit xn is non-zero, you can conclude that it is not convergent, because if it was convergent, the limit must be 0, but here given that limit xn equal to 0. This is called contrapositive of the above theorem. So contrapositively, the above theorem can be restated as, if limit xn is non-zero, then series xn is not convergent. Okay, so you can prove it automatically. Actually here given limit xn equal to 0, so you have to prove that summation xn is not convergent. Just you prove by contradiction, you have to assume that summation xn is convergent. So by that theorem you get limit xn equal to 0, but here limit xn is non-zero. So this is a contradiction. So limit xn, the series summation xn is not a convergent series. Okay. Now I use that corollary or contrapositive portion of the above theorem to solve that problem. Check the convergence of the series half, 2/3, 3/4 ... Okay. Suppose the series given series was be summation xn. So you have to take general form of the terms of the series. Just in first term, this is 1 by 2 in first term, second term 2 by 3, third term 3 by 4. That is if in next term will be, that is fourth term will be 4 by 5. So when you take nth term, this will be n by n plus 1. Okay. So xn equal to n by n plus 1 for all n belongs to natural number. Okay. Here if you take the limit xn, this will be n by limit n by n plus 1. Just divide n in numerator and denominator, then this will be 1 by 1 plus n. Okay. If you divide n in both numerator and denominator, then this will be n by n, that is 1, and this will be 1 plus 1 by n. Okay. As a result, 1 by 1 plus n. Again, if you take limit as n tends to infinite, then 1 by n must tend to 0, that is 1 by 1 plus 0, that is 1, that is non-zero. So limit of the general term, that is limit of xn, is non-zero. So you can conclude that the given series is not convergent series. That is 1 by 2, 2/3, 3/4. This is not a convergent series. Okay. I hope that you understand that problem. Now I state a theorem on convergence of a series. That states that let m be a natural number, then both the series x1 plus x2 plus x3 and xm plus 1 xm plus 2 ... converge or diverge together. Just if you look that to series, then you see that in second series there are m terms discarded from the first series. That is here x1 x2 ... xm are discarded from the series, and this is the resulting series. Suppose here if you take m equal to 10, then this will be x11, x12, x13 and so on, and here this is x1, x2, x3 ... So just you discard first 10 terms from that series, then you get the resulting series. Okay. The theorem says that both the series converge or diverge together. Okay. Converge or diverge together means if this is a convergent series, then suppose if you discard first two terms, suppose you take x2 plus x3 plus sorry, if you discard from first two terms, suppose if you discard x1 and x2, the resulting series will be x1 plus x4 plus x3 x5 and so on. So if this is convergent series, then the result will be convergent series. If it was divergent series, the resulting series must be divergent. Just value of the series must be different, because in a resulting series there are two terms discarded, so result will be original result minus x1 plus x2. Okay. For example, suppose the infinite series infinite series has sum 50. If you discard the first 10 terms from the series, and suppose the sum of the first 10 terms of the series is 10, so that is the resulting series, that is x11 plus x12 plus x13 plus dot dot. Value of that series must be 50 minus 10, that means 40. That is the value of the series different, but nature of the series must be same in the sense of convergence. Okay. However, I will prove that theorem. Here the given series are x1 plus x2 plus dot dot and xm plus 1 xm plus 2 plus dot dot, where m is a fixed natural number. Suppose this is y1, this is y2, this is y3. Okay, imagine this is y1, this is y2, this is y3. So this series is actually y1 plus y2 plus y3, because you take this is as y1, this is as y2 and this is as y3. So this series is y1 plus y2 plus y3. So that is a given series are summation xn and summation yn, where yn equal to x m plus n for all n belongs to natural number, because if you take n equal to 1, then this will be y1 equal to x m plus 1, that is this term. If you take n equal to 2, that's it, this is y2, so y2 is x m plus 2, here y2 equal to x m plus 2 and so on. Okay. Let Sn and Tn be the corresponding sequence of partial sum of the given series xn and yn. Clearly, Sn is the sum of first n terms of the series xn, that is Sn must be equal to x1 plus x2 plus xn, and Tn must be equal to y1 plus y2 plus dot dot yn, but yn equal to xm plus 1 and y2 equal to xm plus 2 and so on xm plus 1. Okay. Now we calculate Sm plus n. Sm plus means first m plus n terms of the series summation xn. So here x1 plus x2 plus xm plus xm plus 1 plus xm plus n. Here if you take that portion, this is equal to actually Tn. Okay, this is actually Tn, and but here first terms, this is the first term of the series xn, that is this can be written as s suffix m for mathematics, that is Sm plus Tn. Here m is a fixed natural number. Okay, we know that limit n tends to infinite Sm plus n equal to limit n tends to infinity Sn. Okay, here n tends to infinity means suffix of s is large, so in both Sm plus n and Sn, the suffix is very large when you take limit n tends to infinite. Okay, just if you take limit as n tends to infinite in both sides, if this limit exists, suppose this is small s, so limit of Tn must exist and this will be small s minus Sm. Okay, if this is divergent, then Tn must be that minus Sm, that is infinite minus Sm, that is infinite, that is Tn tends to infinite. So we can conclude that both the series Sn and Tn converge or diverge together. Since Sm is fixed or constant, both the sequence Sn and Tn converge or diverge together. Again, Sn sequence Sn is convergent means summation xn is convergent, and Tn is convergent, sequence Tn is convergent means summation yn is convergent, and when both the sequences are divergent, then corresponding series must be divergent. So here you see that both the sequences converge or diverge together, and hence therefore the corresponding series, that is summation xn and summation yn, must converge or diverge together. That is summation xn means x1 plus x2 plus x3, and summation yn means xm plus 1 xm plus 2 plus xm plus 3 dot dot. So both the series converge or diverge together. Okay. So if you discard some finite terms from first, then resulting series have same nature in the sense of convergence. Okay, please remember that theorem, Mell's statement, it will used later to solve some problems in series. However, we define series of positive terms. Series of positive terms means a series all the terms of which are positive. If all the terms of a series are positive, then the series is called series of positive terms. Okay. In other words, the series summation xn of real numbers is said to be series of positive real numbers if xn is strictly greater than 0 for all n belongs to natural number. That is, if all the terms of the series are positive, then you can conclude that the series is a positive series of positive terms. For example, 1 plus half plus 1/3 plus 1/4, half plus 2/3 plus 3/4 plus 5/6 and so on. All the terms are series of positive terms. Series 2 plus 2 square plus 2 to the 4, this is example of series of positive terms. But series minus 2 to the power n is not a series of positive terms because the terms of that series is minus 2 plus 4 minus 8 plus 16 and so on. Okay. Now there is a theorem, a series in positive real numbers xn is convergent if and only if the sequence of partial sum Sn is bounded above. A series in positive real numbers xn is convergent if and only if the sequence of corresponding partial sum Sn is bounded above. We know that a series xn must be convergent if the corresponding sequence of partial sum is convergent. The series must be convergent if and only if the corresponding sequence of partial sum must be convergent. But the theorem states that when sequence of partial sum is bounded above, then the series must be a convergent series, provided the series is a series of positive real numbers. Okay. So here if Sn is bounded above, then it must be a convergent sequence. Okay. Now we will prove the sequence Sn is a convergent sequence, then you can conclude that summation xn is a convergent series. Here the given series be summation xn where xn is strictly greater than 0 and suppose Sn be the corresponding sequence of partial sum of the series summation xn, then Sn must be x1 plus x2 plus dot dot xn, and if you calculate Sn plus 1, then this will be x1 plus x2 up to x plus 1. If you subtract Sn from Sn plus 1, then resulting will be xn plus 1. Okay, but xn plus 1 is strictly greater than 0. So here Sn plus 1 is strictly greater than Sn. Sn plus 1 minus Sn is greater than 0 means Sn plus 1 is strictly greater than Sn. So you can conclude that the sequence Sn is a sequence of monotone increasing sequence. Okay. Now you know that a sequence Sn a monotonic increasing sequence will be convergent if and only if it is bounded above. A monotonic increasing sequence must be convergent if and only if it is bounded above, and it converges to its supremum. Okay. Now the sequence Sn is convergent if and only if it is bounded above. It is bounded above. Again, Sn is convergent means the corresponding series is convergent. Okay, the corresponding sequence xn is convergent if and only if Sn is convergent, but Sn is convergent if and only if it is bounded above. As a result, you can conclude that the series xn is convergent if and only if the sequence Sn of the partial sum of the series xn is bounded above. Okay. So for a series of positive real numbers, you have to show that Sn is bounded above instead of Sn is convergent sequence. Okay. Next, I will give a note. When Sn is unbounded above, that is Sn is not bounded above. If the sequence of partial sum is not bounded above, that is it is unbounded above, then it is divergent and diverges to plus infinite. When Sn for a sequence series of positive terms, Sn is always sequence of Sn is a monotone increase sequence. Okay. But if it is unbounded above, that is it is not bounded above, then the sequence must diverge to plus infinite. As a result, summation xn must be diverge to plus infinite. Okay. So for a sequence of positive terms, the series xn is convergent if and only if it is sequence of partial sum is bounded above. When Sn is unbounded above, then the corresponding series must be diverge to plus infinite. Please remember it. Now we give a theorem. Let xn and yn, let xn be a series of positive real numbers and yn is the series obtained from the xn by grouping the terms of xn, then here actually yn is the series obtained from xn by grouping terms. That means actually here xn is a series of positive real numbers. Just if you calculate the sum, then you have to x1 plus x2, then the result will be added with x3, and then the result will be added with x4 and so on, okay, to get the result. But you can calculate in another approach. Suppose you calculate x1 and plus x2, and then calculate x2 plus x3, and then x5 and x6 by grouping, and then suppose x7 plus x8 plus x9 plus x10. Just you can calculate the addition by grouping, okay, and then you can add all the terms, okay. So in the first group, suppose the element was y1, in the second term element was y2. So the resulting series must called a series grouping from the terms of xn, okay. Then the theorem states that if summation xn is convergent to S, then yn will do so. That is, when xn is convergent, then yn must be a convergent and converge to the same limit. And if yn is convergent and it converges to S, then summation xn will do so. Here I will not prove that theorem, but I discuss the theorem. At first I want to talk about grouping. Let suppose xn is here, xn is that, okay. Just you have to grouping the terms. Suppose at first you calculate x1 plus x2, okay, and then suppose x3 plus x4 plus x6, okay. At first you calculate x1 plus x2 and then take the result, and then x2 plus x3 plus x5 plus x3 and take the result, and suppose then x7 and then x8 plus x9 plus x10 take the result, and so on, okay. Now if you take this is as y1 and this is as y2 and so on, this is as y3 and so on, okay, then summation xb can be written as, summation xn can be written as y1 plus y2 plus y3 and so on. This is y1 y2 plus y3 and so on. So here actually value of summation xn and value of summation yn is same. Here summation yn is called sequence by grouping the terms of xn, okay. Since summation xn equal to summation yn, so if summation xn is convergent and if it is converges to S, then summation of a must be convergent and it converges to S, and conversely, okay. It is possible only for series of positive real numbers, but if you take the series of alternating series, or that is in series of arbitrary terms, then it not happens. The above theorem does not hold for series of arbitrary terms. For example, we consider a series plus 2 minus 2 plus 2 minus 2 and so on, okay. Suppose you group the terms in following two manners. In first case you take first two terms 2 minus 2 and then plus 2 minus 2 and then plus 2 minus 2 and so on, and suppose in second case you take first term separately and second third term in a group, third fourth term in a group, okay. So you show that here 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus dot dot, that is this series converges to 0, and here 2 plus 0 plus 0, that is this converges to plus 2, okay. In case 1 the series converges to plus 0, but in case 2 the series converges to plus 2, okay. So here the given series is not convergent, okay. So here you see that here I grouping that series in two cases, but two cases the result are different. But when the if the sequence you take is a sequence of positive terms, then result will be must be equal, okay. Please remember the theorem. You can prove the theorem by using any book. Now I give another theorem depending on positive terms. The theorem states that let xn be a series of positive terms, then any rearrangement of xn is convergent. There is a mistake in the theorem. Here xn be a series of positive terms, then any rearrangement of xn is convergent and the sum remains unaltered. Actually here xn is a convergent series of positive terms. Okay, there what will be added from first in the first line here, let xn be a convergent series of positive terms. Okay, then any rearrangement of xn is convergent and the sum remains unaltered. Rearrangement means just you can rearrange the terms of the series xn by unchanging the magnitude and sum of the terms. Okay, the resulting series must be convergent if the original series is convergent, and the same value of the both series must equal. Okay, here I also discuss the theorem, but I am not going now in the proof. You can prove the theorem by taking help any book or prove yourself. Discussion. Let the given series xn be xn, which is a convergent series. Okay, let us define another series yn where yi is xj for ij belongs to n, not where not all ij are equal. That is, suppose y1 equal to x2, y2 equal to x5, y7 equal to x10, y4 equal to x100, y5 equal to x5, y6 equal to x9, etc. Okay, so the resulting sequence series yn is called series by alternating the terms of the series xn. Okay, for example, if you take y1 equal to x9, y2 equal to suppose x32, y3 equal to x3, y4 equal to x1, y5 equal to x120, etc. Okay, so theorem says that is the sequence xn and yn have same elements but in different order. Okay, then theorem states that if xn is convergent, this is when xn was convergent series of positive terms, then the resulting sequence, that is summation yn, must be convergent. That is, the rearrangement of the sequence is convergent and the sum remains unaltered. Okay, this happens is obvious. Suppose you have to add 4 plus 9 plus 1 plus 5. You can take, you add 4 plus 9 equal to 13, 13 plus 1 means 14, 14 plus 1 means 5. You can add in different ways. Suppose at first you take 1. Okay, then first element here 1 was third term, but here is 1 is first term, and then suppose 1 plus 9, here 9 was second position, here 9 was also in second position, and then suppose you take plus 5 and then 4. So the result will be same. So if you change the place of the elements, that is order of the elements, that is if you rearrange the terms of the summation, the result will be same. Okay, so this is the theorem. It is very useful. However, in the present video I discuss some theorems, but in next video I give some test for convergence of series of positive real numbers. When a series is given, you have not calculated the sequence of partial sum, but simply there are some formulas. You check the convergency of the series by using that formula in next video. Please see the next video. Link of the video is given in the description box. Anyway, thank you for watching whole the video.